Please welcome Rhea Gore.
Hi everyone. Oh my God, a lot of faces. I'm Rhea Gore. I work on more of a new markets role here at Fora HQ. About a year and a half ago, Evan, our co-founder, was approached by some passionate advisors who saw an opportunity for Fora to become a market leader in the luxury accessible travel space. And he tapped me to work with our amazing women, Ashma Ratti, Judy Tudor, and Karen Morales to help bring that to life. Here we are a year and a half later with hundreds of advisors specialized in accessibility and thousands of their own clients ready to launch into the world with the help of our partners. So here is Fora X advisor Karen Morales to speak more to her personal experiences and how it applies to all of you, our community and our partners.
Then I look at you, and the
Hey everybody.
all right with me.
So we're going to start with a little interactive exercise. And the first question I have for everybody is who in the audience, and raise your hands as I say it, has ever booked a trip for somebody needing a wheelchair? You too, suppliers. How about food allergies? Autism, keep those hands up. Slow walkers, hearing impairments, grandmas that need a slow tour, right? Now you can put your hands down. Now, suppliers, I'd like you to raise your hand if you proactively mentioned accessibility in your marketing materials today. That's right. That's the gap. We all serve multiple audiences, and yet in the luxury travel space, we don't often talk about it. There was a group of us who saw this as a huge opportunity, and Fora listened. And over the course of the last year and a half, we've trained hundreds of advisors on how to serve everybody's diverse needs. And with that, we've booked thousands of trips for thousands of clients. And we've done over $50 million in accessible sales. And just like everything else at Fora, we expect this to grow. We see these numbers doubling year over year, and now we're ready to get everybody involved. Because the thing is, when you're dealing with a disability, you don't want your dreams of travel to come to a crashing end. And these are the stories that we hear again and again from travelers. People who are able to find a luxury suite, but they can't find a room. And they begin to think that what they used to love to do is no longer possible. Because there is always a moment where something can change. For me, that happened on April 25th, 2020. I was homeschooling 2 kids, like most of us, dealing with Fortune 500s trying to go viral or get online, and I tripped and fell. I already had a neuromuscular condition, and it was a slow roll and prognosis, but that was the last day I could ever leave my house alone. And it was hard. I had over 35 passport stamps. I had a lot of dreams on what I wanted to do, and using a wheelchair, not really one of them. And you have to fight. You have to fight for insurance. You have to fight for your doctors. You have to fight to get a wheelchair. And I thought, this is really too hard. It was a friend who made the best suggestion of my life to try something different. And for me, it was accessible skiing. And when I walked into that chalet in New Hampshire and busted down those slopes like I was, in Tahoe in the 90s, I was like, maybe this isn't gonna be so bad. And so I hit a lot of adaptive recreation those first couple years. And it was welcoming. It was beautiful. It almost made you think that maybe life can be maybe better. But then I decided to go back to my old way of traveling. Hit a 5-star hotel in Hawaii, a city stay in Washington, D.C., And I would roll up to these counters with a virtuoso travel advisor having booked my rooms, and they would be wrong. There would be stairs. There would be bathrooms I couldn't enter. There would be a step-up shower or a bed about this high. And I thought to myself, how the hell did they get this so wrong? But the thing is, that's a story that we often face. Maybe it's a neighbor of yours that had a kid diagnosed with a food allergy. Maybe it's an 80th birthday trip that they're wondering, I don't think we can hide the dementia. Or it's a multi-gen where we have one kid who's a little non-typical. These are the clients that come to us, and they always have one question. And it's not, what do I want to do? It's, where can I go? Because when life gets complicated, it often falls into two buckets. One is what feels really hard and necessary, and the other bucket, which is the fun, often feels like too much. And that's the opportunity that we all have. And the thing that is so beautiful about the work that we've done with Fora and with our mighty little team of advisors is that we think it is really boiling down to three pillars. So suppliers will ask me all the time, well, how do we do this? Isn't it going to be hard? Isn't it going to be expensive? And I think the problem that we have is not about infrastructure. It's not about compliance. I don't even like the word ableism. It's about welcoming. It is hospitality. The first step in our process is about welcoming. And welcoming boils down to one key thing. It's communicating what you offer. We can't book your hotels if we can't find your rooms. And oftentimes we don't see what you offer. I just came back from ILTM in the Bahamas, and I had multiple partners tell me that they had 22 accessible rooms. We didn't even know they had one. These are the things that we can fix easily. You can put them in your marketing presentations. You can list them on your website. You can make them bookable online. And then we can get more creative about what are the other accommodations you can offer. I'm surprised at how many times I find out about secret programs. Like the Rosewood Baha Mar told us that they have an entire ability in their kids' club to cater to children with autism. And it was something they created for their own team, and they haven't really gone public with yet. When I was able to go to the Ritz-Carlton in Turtle Bay, one of my all-time favorite properties, we all found out collectively that they have a beach wheelchair. And these are the things that we can sell, but we have to know it exists. The second piece that comes with this idea of welcoming is kindness. And those are the little things that go a long way. When my family and I were in Chapter Roma, we were really excited to have tacos. We had been in Europe a long time. The food's amazing, but California girl at heart wanted a taco. So I mentioned at check-in that we were thrilled to go to the roof deck and have tacos. And I saw that look go over the front desk clerk's face. She's like, there's no elevator. It's on the roof. I was like, okay, that's fine. We won't have tacos. She said, no, we will have tacos. Before I knew it, they had set up a whole Mexican fiesta in the bar lounge. They made it extra special for the kids, brought extra chips and salsa, and the problem was solved. We were happy, and we were welcomed. These things matter. When you spend most of your life trying to find a way to access a bathroom or get in and out of a car, when a hotel goes a little extra, it really goes a long way. And that's why this community tends to share our stories more than anyone else. Stories travel, and we're always looking for examples of the next best thing. Fora is now repping in multiple communities online for accessible travelers, and we find the same questions come up again and again. For you cruise partners listening, somebody please solve the river cruise issue, because that is the #1 demand we get for people with mobility challenges. But besides that, we don't often see ourselves in the imagery. I found out from another partner at ILTM that they had installed a brand new beach a lift into the pool at their property, but it was against corporate guidelines to picture it on the website. We can fix these things. It's not even that difficult. And I'll give you one example of a hotel that I personally stayed at recently that goes above and beyond. So in the accessibility circles, and for me that's particularly wheelchair, there is a hotel in the Maldives called Amila. Now, if you don't travel in a wheelchair, you may not have heard of it, but it's a luxury 5-star experience. And every influencer who uses a wheelchair knows about it. So when we were able to go to this lovely fam with Jumeirah in June, I said, you know what? I'm gonna actually go to this hotel alone, in a wheelchair, in the Maldives, and see if it lives up to its reputation. The thing with that hotel is it wasn't created for wheelchairs. It's, you know, it's Robinson's Crusoe. It's a sandy island. They have exactly one overwater bungalow that has been adapted. And when I mean adapted, that means that there are ramps getting in and out of it. There's a perfectly level bench to access that outdoor shower. But the thing that is different is the folks that help the wheelchair users on this island volunteer. They've all been trained, but there's a group of them that beg to help people with differences. So when you walk up, I guess not walk up, when you're carried off the bobbing seaplane to get onto the floating platform to board the boat, there are 10 people psyched that you're there. And if you've ever been carried off of a floating seaplane, it's not exactly the most comfortable. But when the people are actually, you can feel the excitement, it tempers down your nervousness a little bit. There I was met with a wonderful butler named Hajer, who said, this is my favorite thing to do. And the one thing that made a difference at this hotel is they had a pool lift that they were able to move from my overwater bungalow to the main swimming pool and onto the scuba boat. Everything was accessible. And when I needed a night in my room, of course, there was no charge for room service. These are the types of things that we're talking about. It's not tearing down your hotels. It's not rebuilding your cruise ships. It's being welcoming. It's telling people that they matter. Because sometimes when you're dealing with these challenges, you really do need a vacation. And I think that's what we're dedicated to here at Fora. Together with the supplier community, we know that we can make change. We know that we can build something different. And we know that more people can be welcomed into that loving embrace of a great vacation. So I ask this. When you're talking about travel, mention accessibility. When you have a sales pitch, include what you already offer. And when you're talking to your clients, tell them that no special request is too much. If this group can come together, I guarantee we can make more action than any legislation, any protest movement, or any war. That's the thing that we need in travel. We need more kindness. We need more beautiful stories. We need more great memories. And I know that we can do that together. I want you to remember this. What's missing is not the infrastructure. What's missing is the welcoming. It's the hospitality. What's missing is us. Thank you.